what I wanted to talk about is how the Microsoft directory products handle entitlements, namely groups. My origin into Microsoft as well was kind of back in the day of Windows NT4, and there were just groups back then, but there's different kinds of groups now, right? And so I was wondering if you could kind of start us with an overview of what are the types of groups, thinking about kind of the Entra environments and also hybrid environments where you've got, obviously, I think almost all Microsoft customers at this point have got some stake at Entra, but a lot of companies still have that on-premise Active Directory, and they're keeping the two in sync. So if you could kind of give us an overview of how, what different types of groups are out there and how they work.
Yeah, and fundamentally, I'll focus a lot of the Entra groups, the Azure Active Directories that was formerly known groups. Obviously, things like security groups and distribution lists and email-enabled security groups, security-enabled distribution lists. Like those are all things that existed on-premise in the AD world. And in Cloud AD Entra, you now have effectively, additionally, you have Microsoft 365 groups. And in addition to security groups, in addition to DLs. And the Microsoft 365 group construct is effectively, what's unique about it is, in addition to it being a membership construct to make sure you got the right people, it's also the construct that backs every SharePoint sites and every Microsoft team, for example, channel are all backed by a Microsoft 365 group. Some people might think of them as universal groups, groups that they have every Viva Engaged community. They're all backed by the same group type in Entra. And that's why when you think about the themes that how do you manage SharePoint? How do you manage teams? At the end of the day, a lot of this comes down to how do you manage groups? Because that's your construct.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what you're doing all the time. And it's kind of like eat your own dog food kind of model.